Hello, welcome everyone to the Altus Millionaire Club's first 5-day challenge. Today, we're gonna have a mindset session. I structured the 5-day challenge this way because we have the BOLD method, BOLD. So each method will be 1 day. And the first day, which is super important, we want to really set up the foundation to have that mindset and that vision, that future you. We want to set up the stone of what you could do for your future. We all have that golden period to earn massive income. Then we all have that later stage of our lives, and we want to have enough money. You have enough money to live off. You will not worry about the inflation, not worry about the stock market. You have that peace of mind. You have that will create longevity. We all want to live longer, right? So let me start a presentation and we will get this started. Welcome again for the first day of our challenge, mindset, clarity, and the tax-free million roadmap. We all want to get that tax-free 1 million one day, don't we? So we'll structure this today's session in several sections. Mindset and vision, which is super important. It will pave the tone of what you want to do, where you are now, where you want to go. The wealth principles. We'll talk about income. We'll talk about wealth accumulation. We'll have the action blueprints for you. And then the last, I call it legacy call and stealth call. We are accumulating the wealth not only for our legacy building, but also for ourselves, for that golden age of ourselves, how we could spend the last bit of our journey in a peaceful and mindful way. Before proceed with the content, I want to give you my why and also why me, why you come here and listen to a Asian Chinese lady talking about wealth. My why, I use that ikigai. That's where what you love, what you're passionate, what the world needs, and what you could be paid for. All together, that four is the ikigai. That's the real life, the joy of real life. For me, I think my little success is way less than all the mistakes, all the lessons, all the failures I face in my life. So I really want to share that, package that as a method, as the wheels on wheels system to show all the other people what you could do, what you should think when you are young, and you should pave the way of wealth accumulation. I did a lot of financial mistakes. I did something good, which lead to a little success I have at this stage of my life. But if I knew what I know now, I could be way ahead of where I am on our balance sheet. When I say our, it means our household. My why is really about helping people, about communicating this message to the massive, because people don't talk about it. The rich people, they have their mastermind. I wasn't really formally educated on personal finance, that balance sheet, what's that, financial statement. And it's just a lot of trials and errors, a lot of mistakes, a lot of tears and rainy days, I call it. I came from China originally, 25 here in the US. My husband and I, the household, we have about net 3.5 million. We have a little on the crypto, so that changed our trajectory of the balance sheet a little. I was worried about that self-directed Roth IRA. I just dumped everything to the crypto. I'm not touching it for 30, 40 years. And I wish at that time when I start using it, it's going to be a really high number. We don't want to close the door and just say, okay, our balance sheet is 3 million. Let's get to 30. Let's get to 100. We will sleep tight. We'll have enough money to live off what we accumulate. But what will that make me feel if I can open what I have learned, all the failures, a little success, because I track everything. I do our tax returns the last 25 years. I do have CPA, but I think that's my money, my wealth. My ultimate goal is to accumulate enough so I can really sleep tight and don't worry about money. So that's my why, and then why me. So I want to show you what Asian Chinese girl can do and what you could do too. I barely speak English. I do have a very good listening skill because we were trained in China. But I think it's all about consistency. It's about the quality. I started with QC chemist in the US. So the quality is one big piece of the component to glue everything together. A lot of people will teach you one thing, but I want to show you what's possible if you put everything together and have that engine, which is the quality, to work for you for your wealth accumulation train. Let's talk about mindset. If you look at all the successful people, whenever they start anything, they will talk about mindset because without the right mindset, you will not propel yourself to the next level. Changes are hard. Nobody likes to change, and everybody feels comfortable to do the routine, right? There's no challenges. With the right mindset, you will change something because you want to accumulate more wealth. Otherwise, if you think you're enough, you don't need to change, maybe you can get to here, but if you have the right mindset, you will get much higher. So the mindset and the vision, where do you see you will be in not only 5 years, not only 10 years, what about 50 years? At the end of your life, what's that vision you could see in your whole entire lifespan? What you could do in your financial life, both yours and what you could pass down to your next generation. I really like this sentence saying wealth building is as an identity shift, not a paycheck chase, a reputable tax-free path, which will lead you 6 or 8 figures. Remember, the 0 to 1 is always the most difficult. Once you get to the tax-free 1 million, it will be so much easier to get to 2, to get to 10, to get to 20. 0 to maybe 100K to the first 0 to 1 million will be always the hardest. But with the right mindset, you will definitely get there. So it's not about paycheck chase. I talk to a lot of people. I'm a big advocate about self-direct Roth solo 401k. You have to have a side hustle. Job will give you a paycheck, but your own company will give you financial security. I always talk about wealth is not income. Income is the way to give us the cash flow. To build up the wealth, you need something which can create that income for you. A lot of people use real estate. I am a real estate investor, but I also want to get into the business investing because right now, with all the technology in our fingertips, we could really change the trajectory of a business, a profitable business, maybe close to profit or not really profitable, to really infuse all the tools, all the automation to create a much profitable business. Eventually, you can package it up and sell this to family offices, PE fund. Those are the money making machine. They can pay the premium and they don't mind to spend money. But for us, that's another great way to create wealth. Systems is also related to the quality, as I mentioned. We need systems in our lives, not only about building wealth. Yes, there's one thing about in our life building wealth, but also the system for your career, for your relationship. Everything should be a system. And then you drill down and see how you could optimize the systems, how those different off system can intertwine and change and make it efficient, make it as an engine, right? All those gears will work together to make things more efficient. Execution is the key. I know I fall into this trap about learning, even sometimes it's paid events, paid coaching program, but it's all at the end of the day, it's all falling into this execution. If you just keep learning, nothing will change. You still doing the same job, collect the same paycheck, have the same expenses. You don't have revenue generating either real estate or companies. But if you can start implementing just one simple thing, for example, the Roth IRA, I think it's 2, 3 days ago, RS just published 7,500 now. We could put every single year, unless they change it, they always grow it because of the inflation. But the speed of them changing that number is stalling. It was 6,500 not too long ago. This year, 2025, it's 7,000. So starting 2026, you could put 7,500. Even that one number, one bucket of money, just put everything Roth and do the right thing. Keep doing it. Don't miss a year. Even in a moderate 15 to 20% in 30 years, that's your tax-free $1 million, right? Everybody has $7,000 for the year. If you have the roadmap, that's only one bucket of your $1 million. Quality. I cannot emphasize enough the quality. We will introduce some course, and one is actually drill down to quality. Quality is difficult to measure, but it's measurable. It's the core of driving ourselves, propel us to the next level with all the different systems working together in the most efficient way. Quality is not about only finance, not only about your career life, where you are. It's also about relationship. Life is not only about making money, right? We want that happiness. We want that fulfillment. We want that worry or financially free situation for our life. So quality is pretty much everything. So next one, I want to talk about wealth principles. Income is what you bring in, and then you have expenses. But the wealth is what you keep. Wealth is what you could bring in, and it will keep generating money while you are sleeping. You don't need to really clock in, clock out, and then get paid for whatever dollars per hour. They were saying making money fills your pocket, building wealth fills your future. Cash flow is current. Wealth is a long-term plan. It's a long-term gain. Everybody has a number now. Everybody should have a number they want to be. And there's also a number, people don't talk about this. There's a number which you could accumulate in your lifetime based on how you want to change, how much you learn, how much you implement what you are learning. So everybody is starting at different stage, but we all start somewhere. I think making money and keeping wealth will be super important to keep aligned together. Yes, we want the cash flow, right? We have bills to pay. But in the meantime, figure out a way to really start building that wealth, which will create the passive income for you and your family. This part of mindset is super, super important. I know I talk about systems, but it's like in the realtor world, it's location. And then also I want to say systems. How you utilize 24 hours. We all have 24 hours. We want those systems to work together. People are saying the most precious commodity for everybody is our time. Once this second passes, you will never get that second back. What's in the past is already happened. Now, what you can do is seize what you could, absorb as much as you can, and have that plan, have that roadmap in front of you, and really start doing and implementing. That's also another thing I want to point out. It's much better to have a community to work towards that goal together instead of doing the solo hustle. Accumulating wealth is difficult. Enduring wealth is the result of structure, not the endless hustle. We want to set up different systems. We want to have a vision, a roadmap to know where I am now and where I want to go. What's my timeline? What are the tools available to us? What kind of system I could build? Right now, a perfect example is all the AIs. The cost of AI became so low, it's just, and the speed, it's unbelievable. If we could make 5 different bots doing different things for us inside of our company, it's pretty much you're buying time back. We were saying time is always the most important and precious commodity of everybody. So I want to really encourage you to think about anything you could do, any system you could build, any tools available at your dispense, maybe something you don't know, but you think it could be done. What's the right way to build that system up? I made AI create this. I believe I was using Perplexity for this one. Basically, I really want to show this is what you are building. The roadmap is that train you are building. That's why I also call this wheels on wheels. The head of the train is the quality engine. It propels everything to the destination, whatever that number is, 1 million, 10 million, 100 million, even 1 billion. Actually, I had the privilege to talk to a $1 trillion people, and he has a family office, but he's so down to the earth, so gentle. You couldn't even think that's a person who has over $1 trillion asset. He managed multiple companies. But for us, each of those are the small banks we're building, and we want those we want those banks to work. Building the bank, putting the money away is one thing. Pull the money out, acquiring asset, getting the cash from the asset, put the money back to the bank. That's the operation. We want the money is working for you. So I like the visual of the fast speeding train of your wealth. Consistency is the key. I cannot emphasize this enough. Kaizen is a Japanese word, so it means improvement, small baby steps, but continuous improvement. 7,000 per year is not a lot of money. We spend, a lot of people rent, or if you're renting, or our mortgage is per month. But 7,000, if you can do that consistently in 20, 30, 50 years, that's a way above 1 million tax-free wealth for you. Consistency is not only about wealth accumulation, can be applied everywhere, right? Say the YouTube, the marketing. I did my challenge September. I didn't do much October and November. If I make it consistent, and I will have 3 times amount of video up there. So it's not only about the wealth accumulation, it can be applied everywhere. Little small changes over time can make a huge impact on whatever that is. Either personal improvement, wealth accumulation, even soft skills you want to master. Consistency is the golden key for a massive wealth accumulation. I call this Wealth OS operating system. The WOW is the actual system. You put the train, you set up your bank, you make your bank working. Each component, the bold method will have each component. The bank is to set up, be your own bank. forget Wells Fargo, forget Chase. They are using our money. If you have 50,000 saving at Chase, they are lending that 50,000 to someone else. They are collecting the interest rate. Why don't we do the opposite? Why don't we become the bank? And then the both master second one, ownership, it's really about owning everything, right? Have that ownership about wealth accumulation. Leverage is about other people's money, other people's time, other people's money, which is other banks, especially in the beginning. You could really get to a much, much higher retail return. Other people's time is more about the system, set up the right system, the SOP, the standing operating procedure. So you can have other people follow the SOP and then you pay them whatever dollar amount per hour, but they can generate a much higher return of the work they are doing for your business. The discipline is all about the consistency, the quality concept. Quality really is a driving factor about making things consistent. That's why we have the quality control department. When you make a car, there's a quality control department to make sure all the components are right. There's all the assembly line, and then there's always the quality control and quality assurance to make sure it stays consistent as the specification. So we really want to do the human overlay for strategic decision making. If you combine everything together, do it consistently in the right tax bucket and bring in more revenue, and then let the bank grow your money, grow your wealth, I have no doubt everybody should be tax free multimillionaires by, depends on how many years, by whatever your defined time. But that's the end goal, which we should have that nest egg, right? We should have that accumulate way ahead of time. Don't start worrying about this at age 70, because at that time, probably your ability of earning money will be way less than your ability in your 30s. Let's talk about some action blueprint. It's pretty simple, but I want to put it in more humanized way. It's not really about, okay, let's make money, right? It's really about the lifestyle you choose. What makes you happy? You only have one life and you want to make the best use of it. And then you want to get the cash flow gap, how much you're bringing, how much you're spending, and how much you can set aside for investment for cash flow business or cash flowing properties. If you are still in the early stage for you have to get rid of the debt, get rid of the credit card, and make sure you are saving enough money to put into the tax-free bucket. For example, we said 7,000 Roth IRA. Yes, it's not a lot of money. There's a deadline, right? If you miss the deadline, which is like April 15th by the tax filing date, you don't have that 7,000 in your bank account. That window is closing and you will never get that 2024 Roth contribution back again if you don't fund it by April 15th, 2025. It's the same for every year. You need to really have that in mind, really plan. There's a lot of deadlines. Also, a lot of penalties per IRS because they will never make things easy. The asset allocation is about, you don't have to do real estate. You don't have to buy businesses. Probably stock is your bread and butter, and you can make 20 times return on stock market. Why you want to do 20% rate of return here, right? So the asset allocation is really about you analyze what is your expertise, where you feel comfortable, what's your tolerance level, what will be the rate of return you are seeking with this kind of asset you try to balance out. And last but not the least, I want people to expand your time, your planning, to add another zero. A lot of people, oh, we do yearly plan. Let's do a 5-year plan. What about do add another zero? Because we don't think that long term. The society doesn't really teach us to think super long term. I have that urgency and sensitivity because I know I don't want work forever. I want to build up wealth. I want the real estate or the business can pay me without me actually working. So really have that long roadmap instead of just do a next year planning where towards the end of this year, but do a 5 year, do a 10, 20, 50 year and see where you will be and what will make you happy at that time. What's that figure you want to really have when you're at that stage of your life? This is what I mentioned before. Financial baseline is the same as you go do your, for women, there's mammogram, there's a baseline. It's where you are now. It's the starting point. That's one of the action item I have for all of you. But we need that financial baseline. Without the baseline, we can only dream. If we don't know where we are now, and how can we pave out and make that bridge to get to where you want to be? This go, slow go, no go. I don't know how many people heard of it. It's for retirement age. When you retire, probably 10, 15 years, depends on your house. I want to see the world. I want to do so many things I couldn't do when I had kids. And then there's the slow go. Your house is deteriorating. You couldn't just jump up and hop in the car and do a 1 day travel somewhere. And the last bit of our life, we all know the healthcare can be a huge burden later down the road. If we don't plan well, that's a burden either to the society or to our heirs. I don't want to be the burden for my kids. I want to have enough savings. I want to have abundant savings. So I'll have the best health care and later on the personal care to take care of me the last bit of my life. This one I mentioned briefly. I think the freedom number is super important. Everyone is different. Sometimes it really depends on your lifestyle. That's why this whole thing is connected. Maybe for this person, 20,000 a year is way enough. For this person, probably he or she will need 200K. With that freedom number in mind, if you could share it with the community in a safe environment and everybody is helping you propel to the next level, that will be really having a catalyst in your arsenal. One person, you can hustle, you can face difficulties, but sometimes you need a sounding board. You need someone who can really help you as a community member to get to the next level and help you go through all the rainy days and difficulties, or even sometimes the thunderstorms, which could happen in life. The legacy call and self call. The self is it's about the golden age of ourself. And we are building the legacy. But to me, it's important to show them what they could do, right? People are saying, instead of hand you a fish, why don't you show that person how to fit, how to do the fishing so he can do it himself or herself. This is the blueprint I want to have in your mind. Some of the figures for illustration, educational purpose only. If you could do 60 to 70,000 a year with the target 30 to 40% rate of return, I'm using slow flip, which is an investment for real estate investment, but a specially designed real estate investment, I call it. And if you use self-directed Roth solo 401k, every single dollar will go back to your self-directed Roth solo 401k. And the target is get to your first tax-free $1 million in 5 to 7 years. I have another figure, which I posted. Let me go here. I posted in the school group it's a compound effect. If you do the math by year 5, here is starting with $1 million because I was talking to a guy who accumulated 1 million cash value for his IBC. So if we start with this 1 million investment, $1 million as the initial investment, we go all in, start buying slow flips, which is in the range of 25 to 35,000. For the purpose of this illustration, I was using 30,000 plus 2,000 closing costs. So the end of year one, 31 slow flips, single families, and this is the yearly income. Here's what the compound effect, and by year 5, you will have 100, just say 100 slow flips. The yearly income is over $1 million. This is the total accumulated income by doing this. So as you can see, this is one of the factor you could really start. And remember, this is just one thing, right? $1 million you start. So the compound effect will make it go a long way. And the snowball effect definitely will continue, especially this is only the first 5, right? If you look at the exponential curve, it starts slow going up, and then there's always a drastic tipping point, and then it will go drastically up. For most of us, we really have to overcome the first slower growing period, maybe a couple of years, and then it will go up exponentially. Let me go back to this slide. I know I mentioned several things about the golden age. To me, yes, it's good to have the cash flow. It's good to enjoy life. Even we are in the right race. I was in the right race probably for a good 14 years. But I think it's important to think long term. What we are doing now is for the future you. I want to emphasize the later stage of our lives, which you have no ability to work, you have no ability to earn money, and you want that asset, the passive income can come and subsidize pretty much everything. And then don't be a burden of your adult kids because they will have kids, they will have the sandwich, they will be the sandwich generation. I think that's mainly for me, mainly because I'm no longer in my 20s or 30s. I want to think long term. So the first 1 million is tax free, the rest is history. Once you have the ability, once you know how to make money, do the right thing in the right tax brackets, your wealth will grow exponentially. So this is some graphic I did for ownership, cash flow, and consistency, and make that tax free as the top priority. If you're getting $100 and you're paying $40 back to Uncle Sam, versus you're making 100 and chip that into a tax-free bucket, all the growth, all the future growth will be tax-free. That will make a huge impact on your financial life. Another thing I want people to think about is the Roth, where I'm a big advocate on Roth, everything Roth. It can be self-directed, Roth IRA, self-directed, Roth solo 401k, if your plan administrator allows it, self-directed Roth solo 401k. You could do Roth, self-directed Roth. Why Roth? We are putting money after tax. You pay tax to Uncle Sam already. We know this year, no matter what your tax bracket is, just say 28%. We know we're paying this money at 28%. We're trading the future growth of the unknown versus you do the traditional. You did not pay tax for this money. You put into the traditional RA and you grow this traditional RA to whatever the end dollar amount of your account. Well, you don't know how much the Uncle Sam will come back and grab their share of tax from that bucket. It could be 20%, hopefully, but it could be 80%. So we are trading a certainty with an uncertainty. Yes, we are paying the tax, but we are paying the tax and Uncle Sam, IRS, out of the picture. I don't want to pay a penny more. All my growth, I control this bank. All my growth, it's all mine. legally, morally, because it's Roth IRA. It is defined that way, and IRS allowed it. And because IRS allows it, there's also rules, there's regulations, there's prohibited transactions, there's a special tax you have to follow. So basically, the tax, I had a double the penny gain in one of the posts. If you really drill down the tax impact on our wealth accumulation, you will be very surprised how that impact a tax can play. So play the card on our side and you will not regret it. Again, this is the bank BOLD, the bold method. I think I emphasize all of that enough. The whole purpose about today's challenge is about the mindset, the whole system. I want you to have that visual. Think about what you could build. Think about that quality engine. Think about your own wealth on wheels. Think about where you are, where you will be in 5, 10, 20, 50 years. So I believe I have two more slides, and that's the Q&A time. Just a selfish disclaimer. I hate recording myself and I want some interaction. I didn't do the sometime I was in another person's school community. He said, "Oh, get everybody," and there's a, "Oh, if you feel this, put a comment says type 666, type yes." I didn't do that because I think it's more important for you to grasp what I try to say. I try to share. It's really not about the little success I have. It's really about the mindset change. Be the bank, do the right thing on a consistent basis in the Roth account. I cannot emphasize how important the tax can foster or kill our wealth accumulation. And just a quick example before I open for the Q&A. If you didn't do it right, self-directed Roth solo 401k, you didn't do it right, and there's certain rules you did not follow. If you are audited, RS can convert that entire account, no matter what the balance. Just say you have $500,000 there. RS will convert the whole entire balance into a regular brokerage account. If you have 20 net income, 20,000, you pay your personal income tax that year. The tax-free gross is gone forever. So there's also several places in RS code, 50% penalties, 40% tax rate. There's so many tax traps. There's also loopholes people try to utilize, but there's also traps. You don't know what you really don't know. So I hope this gave you some idea about the roadmap, the vision, and why I want to really share this to all of you. The next 4 days will really drill down. Okay, when we say we want to be our own bank, what are we doing? When we say leverage, what do you mean? What options we have? And then also the discipline. I'll show you the double your money game with tax, without tax. You will see the numbers don't lie. So I think that's all I prepared for today's challenge. And I hope it will give you some framework, something to think about. The action item is I want you to take just a piece of paper and start jogging down where you are, what's your cash flow, how much your tax you're paying, what's the adjusted gross income, what's the tax rate. And also, if you do not have some of the basic financial knowledge, what are the resources online you can start reading and knowing what's the difference between balance sheet and financial statement? What's this marginal tax? People talking about RMD, what does it mean? Does it impact you? The big beautiful bill. Is there anything you could take advantage of? The window is closing. The self-directed solo 401k, if you're eligible, you need to establish that account by December 31st this year. If you are planning to do the Roth conversion, you have to convert by December 31st, 2025. There's strategies how much you convert, and you don't want to generate a huge tax bill because no matter how much you convert, you have to pay the tax rate, income tax rate on every single dollar. If you're converting 10K, probably your tax bill is not that huge. But if you have a $2 million traditional RA you want to convert, you probably don't want to do 1 million this year. Your tax bill gonna be huge. So there's a lot of strategies about every single piece of the method. We'll drill down, and hopefully this will give you enough to think about and start doing your balance sheet, your where you are, the one I called financial baseline now, and figure out the gap, what you want to know because you heard of it, but try to explain to yourself. If you cannot explain to yourself clearly, go back and retrieve. AI can be a fantastic tool. Just start asking AI, what is this? What is that? What I should know? I'm here. What can you give me some advice? Some website, some podcast, any resources? Just start absorbing everything possible in so you can get to your next level to have that roadmap in front of you and start implementing. I cannot emphasize that enough. If you don't do anything, nothing will happen. So I will close my presentation and I'll take some Q&A. I really appreciate everybody's valuable time to come here and listen to this first day challenge.